Hello, everyone. Today we are here, episode 8 of Backpacks and Stories. I'm here today with Fabian.
Hey everyone,
How's it going, man? How have you been?
I'm doing all right. Yourself?
I'm very well, thank you.
That's good to know, eh?
Would you like to start off by introducing yourself?
Okay. I'm Fabian. I'm 32 years old. I'm currently living in Chile. And yeah, I'm living in the countryside, having a good time here in my country.
Drinking your mate.
Yeah, I'm having a mate now. So good. And I'm having a good time here with my mate Ben, who I miss a lot. It's been a couple of months. Um, but
More
I
than
think,
more than a couple of months. The last time I saw you was last year
really?
in July.
No way.
Yeah.
But time flies by. Time flies by, dude. I can't believe it.
Yeah, I don't think I saw you in December time when I visited. I don't think that in the end we could.
Yeah. I couldn't make it. I couldn't make it that time. Yeah, I don't remember what I was doing, but I couldn't make it. Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. There was the holidays. There was everything. Yes, and yeah.
Yeah.
So we first met in Australia just over 4 years ago now, back in
Oh,
June.
yes. Jesus Christ, dude. Can't believe it. Time flies by again.
Would you like to start off by talking a bit about your experience in Australia?
Yeah, it's not a problem. Um, what do you want to know about it?
Why did you choose to go to Australia?
I always wanted to go overseas and see how the things work out somewhere else apart from Chile. I actually wanted to go to United States first because one of my uncle is still living in there. Um, but something happened. I don't remember. I was supposed to go. Um, but I can't remember what happened. My uncle told me. Yeah. Now I remember. Yeah. Uh, my uncle got married and her wife didn't want me to come along. That was the problem. So I started looking for some other options, and I said, "All right, Canada is next to United States, pretty much the same." And one of my mates, who's not my mate anymore, he went to Australia for, and he took an English course. And he told me, "What about if you get on work and holiday visa and you come here? It's a pretty nice place." And he started talking to me every single day to try to, you know, make me to make that decision and go there. And yeah, and I said, "All right, I'll check it out." It was um, looking for some more information about the country, the culture, what to do up there, and I started talking to someone from Australia as well, and she showed me the beautiful part of Australia, and I said, "Yeah, why not?" I do not believe in coincidence, and that's it. Must be a reason why everything happened in that way. And I applied for the visa, and I got it immediately. I struggled for sure for in the in the English exam. It was so hard for me, so hard. I actually got 4 in writing, listening, and all of those topics.
What did you need to get the visa? You need a 5 on the IELTS?
Over 4.
A 4
Average,
is a 4 is okay.
in the 4 topics, and I got 4. I got 4.
So when you arrived, could you understand much? How your level of English was very basic.
Yeah, very basic. Not much. Aussie Aussies 0. Yeah, man.
And
It was so hard at the
how
beginning.
How long was it before you felt comfortable speaking and understanding English, would you say?
After living in Tassie.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of time, I would say after 8 months. After
Yeah.
I felt comfortable just speaking English.
You spent a long time down in Tassie, no?
Say that again?
You spent a long time down in Tassie.
Uh Not that much, just 4 months.
Okay.
But it
What were you
was one of the
there?
most beautiful time in my life. It
Mm.
was such a journey up there. I remember it with a lot of love, if it makes sense.
What were you doing down in Tassie?
I was working in a farm because I needed to extend my visa, the 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
So I always wanted to go to Tasmania because of the fucking Tassie Devil. That was the main reason, actually, and because of the um, Tasmanian tiger. Do you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so and actually, I started looking for a job on Facebook in Tasmania, and someone told me, "Oh, there's a farm here. You can come here. It's a pretty good rate. Um, so yeah, why not? And you're gonna stay with me." It was a kind of hostel, but only uh, me and he. Um, so yeah, I said okay. Actually, was scared as hell because it's different when we are talking on social media and we don't know each other. And what about if I get the ticket, fly up there, and then there's nothing? you know, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So yeah, I was so scared, but he went to pick me up at the airport. He was super nice with me, but then after 2 months, no, it turned into a nightmare. Our relationship in the house, um, it wasn't good at all. Two different cultures. It was too um too wide. I know too different. The cultural impact between us was huge. Was huge.
Was he an Australian dude?
No, from Indonesia.
Ah, okay, okay. And what kind of job were you doing down there? You were working on what kind of farm?
Um, I don't remember it. I actually blocked that bloody farm in my head. Um, I'm just not made up for that. That's all. I don't have any problem with the people who do that for a living, but I'm not made up for that.
Mm. Yeah, I think the farm life it has its pros and cons. Everyone has a different experience, and obviously it depends on what kind of farm you're on, who you're with. The environment is really important for that time because it's somewhere that you have to be in order, like you say, to complete your days to extend your visa. So it really depends on who you have around and what you're doing.
But the environment was perfect, dude. I was the problem. It was perfect. I swear to God, I think, the most beautiful people I ever met in Australia. I actually was able to know the real Aussie, I would say.
Mm.
Uh, Not the typical Aussie from the cities. You know what I'm saying? They were so kind. They told me English as well. Um, they took care of me a lot in all possible ways.
Mm.
Um, that's why I remember it with so much love, and yeah, it was an amazing experience. I think it's the most beautiful experience that I had in Australia,
Wow.
in Tasmania. Yeah, yeah, dude. After work, everything was perfect. During work, terrible. I'm just not made up for that, dude. It's the same in Childers. When I met you, it was the same. I couldn't see a fucking ginger picking gingers and all of that. No, dude. Um, I struggle a lot during my 2 years in Australia with every single job. I'm
Mm.
just not made up for anything else apart from be in my laptop in an office doing what I know to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think sometimes, but it's always good to experience those things, because sometimes we have to experience them to know this job's not for me. And the thing is, even though, yeah, maybe they were uncomfortable and difficult moments, you still got it done at the end of the day. And you still
Yeah.
have that experience, and you're able to say, well, I tried it, but it wasn't for me.
Yeah, I had to run away from Childers, for example.
I remember.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you're right. I took the best part of every single experience that I had up there, but nah, not at all. I
Mm.
wouldn't I wouldn't do that ever again in my life. Unless it's the only one, you know, type of job in the world that I can do. But no, I struggle every single day because of that. The only one job that I had in Australia, I actually like it, was in the data centers.
Mhm.
That was the only one. The rest of them, all fucking shit. I work as a kitchen hand, fucking hate it, and in the farm, fucking hate it. I don't know what else. Picking gingers. No, it wasn't gingers. Oh yeah, yeah, it was gingers. Yeah. What else? I don't remember. But yeah, only data center was my my favorite job.
So where did you go after Tasmania?
After
Yeah.
I went back to Sydney, I started working in the data center as well, having a good time, and everything was perfect up to fucking pandemia. Everything shut down, all the jobs went down. I started working only 3 times per week, sometimes twice, sometimes only once. Um, so I didn't have enough money to survive there. And I had to move to Queensland because someone told me again, "Hey, I got a job here. Coming or what?" And I said, "All right, I'm gone." Um, and I wanted to extend my visa as well. I actually got the visa the third year, and I didn't use it. It was so, you know what I mean. Uh, I'm glad that I did that because I met a lot of beautiful people, as you, for example, and I had more experiences, more adventures, more. I visited more places as well. I met Marcelo. You know what I'm saying, and it was good. But I wasn't able to use my 3 year because the things when I came back home, the things were um, not very good. Actually, pretty bad. So I had to stay here for my family.
Yeah, of course. And sometimes life calls us to make those sacrifices. Sometimes we have to say, this isn't the plan. And like you say, um, things, I also don't really believe in coincidences. I believe everything happens for a reason. And I believe that you were put on that path. You know, it just wasn't meant to be in that moment.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And that's okay.
But when I left Australia, that's why I always said there's still a chapter in my life open, because when I left Australia, I always thought, all right, I'm going back home. I'm going to spend, I don't know, a couple of weeks and I'll be back. Don't worry about it. All right. All right, Ben, see you later. Bah, bah. And then I never see you again. You know what I mean? Um, so the first month when I was in my house, um, having nightmares um, with Australia, like me coming back and crying on the plane, crying on the airport of Sydney, and seeing everyone again, and all of that. And that never happened. That chapter is still open. I don't know how to take it, to be honest. I just don't I ignore it. I just don't try to think about it because I get nostalgic immediately. But um, like I said at the beginning, um, I'm staying in Chile. I'm not going anywhere else. Yeah, it is. That's it. Australia's over for me.
Do you think that one day you'll go back to visit?
I don't know. I don't know, dude. Because I get nostalgic. I avoid to think about it, mate.
Yeah.
Um, I learned a lot about myself in Tassie. That's why it was a kind of a spiritual journey. Um, I can't. I was able to be my best friend. How powerful that sounds. You know what I mean? I was able to be my best friend, be with me 24 hours, 7 days, be my best friend all the time. Um, I learned how to be by myself, um, know me very well. Actually, now I can say I know who I am.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because it's a completely different story. Look, think about it. When I'm struggling with something, or I'm depressed, or I'm sad, or whatever, every single emotion that I can feel now in a negative way, I just go out, catch up with my mates, go out for a beer, spend time with my family, play video games, play guitar. I got my work here. Same when I left Chile, for example. Go to play football with the boys, anything. But when you take that individual and move somewhere else, and you're alone, you're just by yourself, what do? You don't have any distraction out there. The only one thing that you actually can do is just face the problem, try to fix it by yourself, understand what the hell is happening. You know what I mean? You don't
Mhm.
have any other tool to avoid your own demons. You gotta face them. You gotta fight them, and accept yourself as you are. That's all. That's the trick. After you, obviously, you learn to be alone. You learn to be by yourself, and everything that I've been saying. But at the end of the day, you learn a lot. That's what I learned in Tassie. Apart from uh, speaking English, and I meet beautiful people. I'm still in touch with them. Um, but Tassie was, I don't know. It just took me to the next level.
Mm.
I don't know if it
Yeah.
makes sense to you.
No, it's crazy because everything really resonates. It really hits home with my heart, and um, I had I went through a lot of similar things. Obviously, I was at a very different point in my life too. I was 19 when I arrived to Australia,
Right.
and and I also did you start in Tassie? Did you start your experience in Tassie?
Now in Sydney, I spent one week in Sydney, and then I went to Melbourne because of my plane ticket was set up in that way. I don't know why. I spent time with my uncle, and then I came back to Sydney, and then I went to Tassie, and then Sydney, and then Queensland, and then Darwin, and then back to Sydney.
Yeah, I remember you got to do the cities at the end. That was really cool. But going back to that, I also had a very similar experience in Tassie, uh, different and similar. I was with a beautiful group of people as well, and they were the first people that I stayed for a longer period of time with, 2.5 months there, that I really connected with, and it was also an amazing experience for me. That I was in a place, I was working a job that I didn't really enjoy, but I did at the same. I didn't enjoy what I was doing, but I was having amazing conversations all day, every day, and so it was a bit of both. And like you say, that was the first time I really had to deal with things, deal with my own problems, being fully independent out there. You know, it was different because I'd never lived away from home before.
Home.
I'd always lived with my mum and my sister and my dad before. And then in Australia, I was just, doing my own thing as an adult, and I had to figure things out. I learned to cook there, I'd never really had to cook before in my life. But I got to the point, well, I'm living in the middle of nowhere. I can't go and have takeaway every day because it doesn't exist. And I can't spend that money. I don't have a lot of money. I need to cook for myself. I need to be a responsible adult.
Yeah.
So that was the start of the journey for me of dealing with my own problems and learning about myself.
And at the same time, I think you appreciate what your parents or your mom in this case have done to for you during your whole life.
Yeah.
Well, I never told you this, but I'm so proud of the man that have you become. You went to Australia with 19 years. That's huge. I can actually think about that in my case. I mean, me going to Australia with 19 years. No, no way. So, yeah, when I first met you, I saw,
I was 20 when I met you.
yeah, 20. And yeah, and I saw you. You were drinking with the boys that night. And I started talking to you. And I actually got impressed how mature you were to be just 20. You know what I mean? You were learning Spanish, and now you're able to speak Spanish. You told me that night, or maybe that week, you told me, I go to South America, I'm going to spend time with there, I'm going to do this, and that, and you have done everything that you said. So that's amazing, mate. Yeah, congratulations. I'm so proud of you, dude.
Thank you, man. That's really, really lovely to hear from a good friend. I really appreciate those words. And sometimes it's easy to forget that I said those things being all those years ago. I know all this time I knew this was my plan. I wanted to go and do those things and go to those places. But sometimes it's easy to forget. Once I've been there, I kind of take it for granted. You when I'm there in a good way. Like when I'm there, I'm in the moment. I'm enjoying those places. And I'm not even necessarily acknowledging that I'm achieving the goals that I've had for all that time.
Yeah, you
So
actually execute the plan
yeah,
perfectly.
so I really appreciate you reminding me of those things. It's
Yeah,
really, really nice to hear.
yeah, you did it, man. And I'm pretty sure you've been learning new things along the journey as well, like to be more organized. I remember that week. Yeah. I remember I was that guy. I don't remember his name, but he was a kind of military. I don't remember. What is the
I
name of that?
don't,
Okay.
Cristobal.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, doesn't matter. But he told me, oh no, Ben, he's always a mess everywhere. Look at his bed. Look at this. All his belongings are everywhere. And yeah, I remember talking to you once about that. Like, um, that you have an argue with him, kind of.
Yeah, he was a person that I had conflicts with. I think we just clashed as people and personalities. And yeah, I think at that point, keeping respecting mutual space, I still hadn't, that was still something that I hadn't learned. Now I'm not a particularly organized person, but I still respect the shared space a lot more. I think that's very important. My own space is my own space. I know I should take care of it, but it's not the same as when you're sharing.
That's wise, yeah.
We were in a small tent with 7 people, and I understand how you
Yeah.
kind of.
I
That's what
can't believe I ended up there, dude. I can't believe that. How did I end up there?
had you gone from straight from Sydney to Childers?
No, dude. I was in Sunny Coast with my Canadian mate. Do you remember that I talked to you about him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was with him and in a hostel, and I was looking for a job. And yeah, I posted something on Facebook. That was my way to get a job in Australia. Just post something on Facebook. I'm looking for a job. I can do this, this, and that. And Marcelo answered me. No, actually, Marcelo answered me when I was in Breezy, and I kept his contact. And I called him. Oh, Marcelo, I'm looking for a job up there. Where you are? I'm in Childers. I'm picking. I don't know what he said, but he didn't say gingers. Whatever. He was picking something.
Avocados.
Avocados. Yeah, avocados.
La palta.
Yeah. And she said, I'm making shitloads of money. Come over. I said, all right, I'm gonna make some money too. And I called the owner of the farm, and she said, yeah, I got a job for you. Just come over. And Marcelo and the other guy, I don't remember his name, Marcelo's best mate, Kenneth. Yeah, Kenneth talked to the owner of the farm as well. Like, there are 2 more people apart from Fabian who's looking for a job. Do you have something for them? Yes, she said. Okay, so 3 of us drove up to Childers from Sunny Coast. It was about 4 or 5 hours, something like that, in a Chevrolet Corsa. Do you know that one? A pretty tiny car full of everything, dude. Even pants and I don't know, man. Groceries, clothes, everything, dude. And we went there, and when we got up there, I saw Marcelo, Kenneth, all of that, and that old woman said, "Now I actually have only a job for Fabian." Oh my goodness! Do you remember that? Were you there? Were you there?
I was there. I remember roughly the situation.
Okay. So, so this woman and sorry, 3 of us only. There was only a job for me. Those 2 had to come back to Queensland. Sorry, so to Sunny Coast.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "Oh, I still got a job in Bundaberg. What about if we go to Bundaberg?" No way. From Childers to Bundaberg. Do you know how many hours?
No, it's like half an hour.
From Childers to Bundaberg?
Yeah, it's half an hour. 1 hour maybe.
So it wasn't at Bundaberg. It was right up the board between Queensland and Sydney. They were picking cherries, but it was 11 hours away from something like that.
But inland.
Inland, yeah.
Okay. No, Bundaberg is by the coast.
Yeah, okay. So maybe I got confused, but that girl had a job picking cherries, and she invited those 2 men to go with her. Actually, there were 4 of us, not 3 of us, 4 of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I stayed in Childers, and it was a nightmare. 2 weeks. When I got there, I saw Marcelo, I saw everyone. Fucking everyone was so nice with me, so cool. But that 10 was a shithole, wasn't it? It was. It was.
It was okay. It was very cheap, and they sorted me a job, and it was they put me in. They helped me out, so I was okay.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'm gonna complain the whole podcast about all the fucking jobs that I got in Australia, except the data centers one. But what were you doing in that farm?
So in Childers, I was on a blueberry farm. For the first 1 month, 6 weeks, I was a bucket boy. So all I did all day, every day was I walked down the rows, I picked up the buckets, and I took them to the truck. It was so good. That was really good. I was just walking all day, getting so much exercise, being outside, eating blueberries. I lost so much weight in that time, and I was really in a good place. But then they made me pick for my last month, and when I started picking, no,
That wasn't for you.
picking, no.
But I'm pretty sure I saw you do a couple of stuff around that farm. Not the
Uh,
blueberry one where we were. Where
in
we
the
actually
hostel,
was it a hostel? I thought it was a farm.
it was it's called a working hostel. So you go there for jobs. They call it a hostel.
Okay.
But yeah, when I first arrived, I did a couple of days of like gardening with them.
Yeah, got it. You know.
Yeah, because I didn't have any money, so I agreed to do work for accommodation, and they took off. I worked for them for 6 hours cleaning and gardening.
How did you end up out there, right?
So I think it was something similar. I think I found a post on Facebook. I sent an email, and then I was on South Stradbroke Island doing a volunteering position. But with the volunteering position, they they only gave me accommodation. There were other things like we could go and use the boat if we wanted to go to the mainland. We could do fishing or borrow equipment to go snorkeling, whatever. But I needed money, and I didn't have enough money for food. So I sent them an email, these people. I say, would it be possible to come and do work for accommodation? And she said, okay, we have a blueberry job, so you can work for accommodation here, and then you can work on the blueberry farm. So I just ended up there. I stayed there for 2.5 months, and that was enough.
Month? Sorry, how many months?
2.5.
2.5.
Yeah.
I thought you were longer.
No.
Where did you go after that?
After I did a road trip for 1 month, 5 weeks,
Hey.
and then I ended up in Early Beach.
Okay. Yeah, I saw you in Early Beach. Now I remember it. Bloody hell. I ended up there too.
What were you doing in Early Beach?
I don't I was working as a shit kicker as well.
A kitchen hand there.
A shit kicker.
Doing what?
Housekeeping maybe?
Okay.
For a month.
Yeah.
But it was terrible. I didn't like it at all, man. No laptops.
It was an experience though, and you got to live in Early Beach.
Yeah, I was living in Ellie Beach, but no, I had a bad experience as well. I didn't like that at all. I actually had a bad experience at work and with the people who I was living with as well. So yeah, I had met a Chilean woman, a Chilean girl, whatever, in Thierry, and she was kind of nice with me and all of that. We got along. That's what I'm trying to say. And another mate, Mariela.
Mariela.
Yeah, you know Mariela. Mariela and Camila. Don't you remember them? Okay, I know you. I know you've met them, both of them. Okay, so Mariela told me, Paula is up there. Why don't you stay with her and try to get a job where she's currently working, and you can go to work with her. She's got a car and everything. Can give you a lift and all of that. I said, all right, why not? And I was working in Hyman Island. Okay, I didn't like the job at all. Again, I was working as a public attendant with Marcelo. And so I went to Ellie Beach and I started working with her and living with her, and everything turned into a nightmare. Our relationship went shit, and the job as well. And now that was a terrible experience. We didn't get along anymore, obviously. Um, but I see the girls in Ellie Beach. I was able to see all my people: Marcelo, Mariela, Camila, but not with her.
Yeah. Well, it happens. Sometimes at the start we connect with people and we think, this is really cool. This person, we have a good relationship. And then after time, you realize your differences and your conflicts. And it happens. Sometimes the situation changes. You see how people react to a situation, and it can change your opinion of them. I think it's natural, and especially when you're traveling and it's a very dynamic environment, things are always changing. It happens more often. Equally, the other way around. Sometimes you meet people, and at first, you have a bad first impression, and then you get to spend more time with them, or you see them do something, and you think, this person's not so bad after all. And sometimes it can lead to really good friendships, long term friendships.
Yeah, I think it's not the same to be um, good mates um, outside of the house that live together. I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah, it,
I,
it it's different. It's very different living with someone and just being friends with them for sure.
yeah, I think that was the main reason why we didn't get along living together. Nah,
Mm.
wasn't for us.
So your time on Hayman Island, that was coming to the end of your experience in Australia, no?
Yeah, and after that, I went up to Cairns to see my cousin, and I spent a week with her and her boyfriend back in the day, not anymore. Um, and when I did beautiful things up there, I did bungee jumping.
Mm.
Was so cool for free because of
Free.
her. Yeah, because of her boyfriend. Yeah, her boyfriend. And he was a friend of everyone up there, so he had too many contacts, and suddenly he told me, "All right, let's go to where? What we're gonna do? Bungee jumping." Oh, dude, but how much is that? How much that is? Um, nah, it's for free. It's one of my mates.
What?
He let us jump. Really? I can't believe it. Yeah. Oh, can I have a video? Yes. Well, everything's included. What? I just went there. I did it, and after that, it was my last day up there actually. And after that, they they dropped me off at the airport.
Mm.
After that,
That's insane. That's
it
insane.
is.
It's crazy some of the experiences that we get to have when you're traveling, and free things that come to you for free. You meet people and they say, "Yeah, you want to give this a go? You want to try this?" And it's crazy. It's beautiful.
Yeah, dude. And then after that, I went to Darwin and I did that crocodile cage experience. Price experience was so beautiful. I love Cairns. I had an amazing time up there. Sorry, Darwin. I had an amazing time up there. I visited the museum. Yeah, I saw beautiful things.
Mm.
I did enjoy everything except the weather. No. Yeah, the heat is insane. It's the humidity. Jesus Christ, dude. Jesus Christ. I remember I was walking towards the museum, and suddenly a heavy rain get in like insane.
Mm. Yeah. And from Darwin, did you fly back to? Oh, you went
Sydney.
back to Sydney.
Yeah, back to Sydney. I think I was so lucky because I was able to be in every single state in Australia because of my adventures and the data centers job as well. It was
You
an
went.
interstate company. Pardon?
Did you go to WA as well?
Yeah, West Australia. Yeah, I was in Perth. I went there 3 times, and I was in Adelaide as well 4 times because of the data centers job. It was an interstate company, and so yeah, I had to travel for work.
And that's the best when they pay you to go and visit other cities and experience other things.
That's it. And on the bosses in that company, I'm still in touch with them. Um, yeah, they took care of me all the time. Even in pandemia, they offered me their house to stay in
Mm.
during the pandemia for free, and now everything. They helped me a lot. They helped me out a lot, dude. I had a really hard moment up there because Grandma passed away, and it was far away from home. I didn't have any plan to come back to Chile, and they were with me, supporting me in every single moment, in all possible ways. Even in my English, they helped me out with that at the beginning because, like I said, I struggled a lot at the beginning. My level of English was so bad. I was barely able to understand some phrases.
Mhm.
Uh, so they were there supporting me. They gave me a job. They gave me a house. I'll be thankful at both of them up to my last day, dude. I think they were the most beautiful people I ever met in my life, even in Chile. I swear to God, I'm still in touch until now.
Yeah, I think I think I've mentioned it before on in a previous episode that so I think Australians are some of the most hospitable people that I've ever met. They're people who really care and they want you to be included. I think I think there's a difference between them, you know, inviting you into their circle of friends, but in terms of they would do anything for you. They will invite you to their homes and they'll invite you for food, beers. They want you to feel at home in their country. I think it's a very when I was in Australia, I always said los chilenos and los australianos, they were the most hospitable people that I knew. After visiting South America, I think the whole of the continent is like that. But the Australians are really amazing and beautiful people. And
But I wouldn't say the same for um, Australian people who live in the city. It's not the same.
no, I think there is a bit more cold, and that is where maybe they have more of a closed circle, a closed life.
Yeah, I didn't
But
have this experience. My experience.
and how long did you spend in Sydney and at this job in total?
Total a year and 2 months, I would say.
2 months.
A
So
year and 2 months.
oh, a year and 2 months. Ah, okay. So more than half of your Australian experience was
Yeah,
with these people. Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so aside from all the bad parts about Australia, do you want to talk about some more of the positive sides, some things that you really love about the country?
Oh, dude, it's so hard for me to give you one answer because I would say everything. I love the country so much. Um, I don't know where to start. I love everything. I love the culture. I love the English, the language, the people, the country itself, the wildlife. the wildlife. I would say it's a
Mm.
beautiful part of Australia. The beaches, bushwalking as well. The contact that you have with nature is amazing, and it's everywhere. It's a developed country for sure. It's just the next level in all possible ways, in my opinion. So that's why it's hard for me to close it on only one answer. People as well. Um, yeah, everyone was quite friendly with me. Um, I'm not. Sorry, I'm going back to my previous answer. I'm not saying like the people in the city they are rude or something like that. They are just cold than the people who lives in the country. I think that happens in every single country in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same here in Chile. If you meet people in the city, it's not the same as if you meet people in the south or up north. So yeah, that would be my answer. The positive things about Australia.
Yeah, 100%. And so another thing that I'm curious to open the conversation with, because I haven't necessarily had so much of a chance to with the previous guests. I think we went through a similar experience because you went vegan in Australia, no?
Yeah, I did because it's easier than, I don't know, in South America or somewhere else. Even
what made you want to become vegan originally?
Because of my bosses that I was just talking about. They went vegan, and actually, I used to have a lot of stomach aches, like very often, and then I realized it was because of my nervous system.
Mm.
And my bosses told me, "What about if you try another diet?" I said, "Which one?" All right, we went vegan, and we feel better than ever. All right, I'll give it a try. So after that, yeah, I felt so much better. No more stomach aches. Um, I slept even better. I felt my body like lighter, if it makes sense. And I got a lot of benefits. But dude, I didn't have. Oh, sorry, I didn't have a proper transition, so I did it like at once. And I felt like shit the first week. I would say the first 2 weeks, and after that, I started feeling in that way that I just described. But then when I got to Chile, now I couldn't keep my diet because in Australia it's so much easier. You go to the supermarket and you got pretty much the same prices of the vegan stuff in comparison to the rest of the groceries. But in Chile, you don't have that prices first, and you don't have that variability.
Variety.
Yeah, that. Thanks. So it was so much harder than Australia. Even in United States, I made that comparison between Australia and US. At least the supermarket that I went to, Australia is just a different level.
Yeah, I also have noticed the difference between the Australia and the UK. I think Australia is the top. UK, they have quite a lot of options and very accessible prices. You don't have to pay so much more. But here in Canada, I think it's a lot more limited, the options. There are options, of course. And now I try and stick to, I mostly eat tofu more than any other, fake not fake burgers, but meat replacement burgers,
Yeah,
things like that. So I mostly try and stick to tofu and seitan and things like that. And I don't think I think it might even be cheaper here. But I also know in South America is a little complicated in some places. I think between Chile and Argentina, they're probably the countries where it's most easy to be in the whole continent.
Where in Chile or Argentina?
Both Chile and Argentina, I think, uh, two of the countries where it is easiest.
I don't know if you had the chance to go to the high class society part of Chile.
Yeah, a little.
All right. When you go up there to the supermarkets up there, you got everything. Not as cheap as in Australia, obviously. The prices are insane, but still you got the options if you got the money to afford them.
Mm-hmm.
But you got everything, dude. Everything. As many things as in Australia. Here, where I live, because I live in the countryside, I got none.
Mm.
So,
Like your local supermarket, you couldn't find tofu, for example.
oh no way, dude! Zero chances. Yeah, I swear to God, I got 3 supermarkets. None of them got tofu.
Interesting. Because I found sometimes in small towns, in random towns in South America, in Colombia or Peru, in Argentina, I've come across those things in supermarkets.
Nah, here, no. No.
It's really interesting because the company Notco is from Chile, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they have a really good range of products there. And I think they're quite affordable.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, so do you think that you would like to become vegan again at some point? Is this part of your plan?
It's not part of my plan, but life is so unpredictable. No one knows what the future holds for us. So I do not discard that idea or ideology at all.
I think for me, it's been a very ongoing journey, and it still is. I think I still have a lot to learn. I stopped cooking with meat 4 years ago now, and I went vegetarian 2 years ago. I spent some time vegan before when I was in the UK. And when I started traveling again, I very quickly just went back to being vegetarian. And now being here again, I personally believe that it's not that I was being a hypocrite by being vegetarian. And I know that I don't need those small differences. Like for me to consume chocolate, for example, or cheese on a pizza, like it's not necessary. I know that I don't need those things in my life, so they are some. I've now decided again that I have to take them out of my life.
That's fair enough, dude. That's really. I respect the decision that of others. Give me a second, Woody. Devil. Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, Woody was barking. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's kind of shit. Sometimes people point at us or the people who go vegetarian or vegan, like judging them in the way like, oh, you're eating cheese, so you're not that vegan or you're not that vegetarian. Why are you eating that? You know what I mean? Like, dude, stay in your business. I have my own process. It takes time, but you know what I mean? And instead of criticizing me, do something by your own or do yourself, whatever. I don't know how to say that one. But I know you got the point.
Yeah, for sure. I think they are, like I say, it's a journey that we all have to come to by ourselves, and we have to respect other people's decisions. And not that I would ever hold anything strongly against someone for what they consume, because it's not my business at the end of
But
it.
have you got any comments like that one, like I mentioned?
Have people made comments towards me about eating something? No, I wouldn't say so. I think it's more self-acknowledgement that I know being a vegetarian, I consider it to be hypocritical because you're still contributing to the suffering of animals at that point. So but that comes from within. That comes from me. Yeah, it comes from me, from the people that I've met, and the conversations that we've had. I've never felt judged by anyone for doing or not doing something. I wouldn't say in regards to consuming animal products.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. So since you've been back in Chile, do you want to talk about some vacations that you've been on, some holidays?
Yeah, why not? All right. Now I'm getting the message from Google. My connection is not stable, so now I am the problem, mate. um, yeah, well, you want me to talk about my holidays? Okay. The first one was in Toronto, Canada. Was an amazing experience. I met the people who I work with because I was working at Deloitte as a IT business analyst. And because of my level of English, I was working with the people from Canada as well, like Deloitte Canada. So one of them who I work with, Adriana, and I'm still in touch with her as well. She invited me to come over to her house and stay with her family. And I stayed there for 14 days. Yeah, maybe something like that. I liked it a lot. I visited a lot of museums, the culture, the poutine, whatever people pronounce that. It's so good. I love it so much. I had one of those pretty much every single day. I love them. The public transport is so good. I really like that country. I did like it. They got train, they got light rail. What else? Buses. Yeah, why
Yeah,
not?
I guess it's definitely a different experience visiting as a tourist versus living in the city. That
Yeah,
you're right.
okay. Yeah. But you got a point as well, dude. You got a point. It's the same with Japan. When you go to Japan or before you go to Japan, it's like, oh my goodness, Japan and all of that. When you see the suicide rate of Japanese, it's insane, dude. But I know what you mean. You got a point. Um, yeah, I did like it. I went there in spring, so the weather was quite nice. People are so friendly. I love Tim Hortons. I would like to have one of those here in Chile. Um, yeah, the food was pretty good. Um, yeah, I had an amazing experience. The museums are woof the best. Do you like museums?
Yeah, I think sometimes they're interesting to visit, but I never went to one in Toronto.
I went one of in I don't remember the name. Well, it was right in downtown. A lot of dinosaurs bones. I don't know the name of that. What is the name of that in English?
I haven't.
Dinosaur skulls. I don't know, but you know what I mean. Um, and I visited the University of Toronto as well. I spent time with the people who I work every day in camera in person. So yeah, it was so good.
Nice. And
Yeah, I
then
had
after,
pardon.
where did you go after Toronto? What was your next holiday?
Yeah, before Toronto. Sorry about that. I started with Toronto, but the first country when I went was New York, and I did like it, but I wouldn't go ever again.
Wow, really?
Yeah, yeah. I yeah, I like it, but I hate it at the same time. I'm not a big fan of big cities, and I went to the biggest city in the world. You know what I mean? So it's that kind of experience that you go in your life only once.
Yeah.
And I went there. Yeah, it was good. Crowded as hell, loud as hell, polluted as hell. The train was terrible crackheads everywhere. I don't know if I can say that here, but it was terrible, dude. Terrible. People in drugs on the train doing weird shit. No, dude. I hate it so much. And I stayed in the Bronx.
Mm.
Yeah, and I stayed in there. And the first time when I go to the hostel, and I saw people making a fireplace on the street, I was like, "What the hell is this? Is this United States?" I couldn't believe it. Um, what else? But yeah, the place that I visited, amazing. The Statue of Liberty, it's just something else. It's just something unbelievable when we are there in front of it. Yeah, beautiful. Same with museum, that bull outside of Wall Street, Central Park, Trump's Tower. Yeah, that's what I did. It's so good. People, nah, so unfriendly, so rude, crackheads everywhere, and I felt so unsafe up there.
Yeah.
Like, can you understand? I live in South America, and I felt unsafe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I know.
Even though I saw cops every 2 blocks, I would say, and I felt unsafe. But the attractions and the stores and everything in America, it's blows your head. It's
Yeah.
amazing. You got so much. What is that? I forgot the word even in Spanish. Uh, 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 uh. All right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Variety.
Say again?
Variety.
No, it's not variety. No, it's not that. Um, estímulos.
Stimulation.
Yeah, all the
Stim-
time,
Stimuli. Yeah.
all the time.
Mm.
Anywhere you are.
It's an interesting combination. I visited New York for a few days with my family when I was 16. That was my first experience where my parents just let me kind of do what I wanted for those days, and I just went walking around the whole city, and it was really interesting. I think it can be quite overwhelming because there are so many people and, like you say, so much stimuli. Um, but it is a really interesting melting pot.
Interesting. What? Sorry, I just lost.
Melting pot
Yeah.
of all the cultures.
Um. Yeah. From my side, just to sum up, I would never go back to there. I'll never go back there. No way. Too much.
Yeah,
Um, what else? And after Toronto, I went to Phoenix,
Arizona.
Arizona. Pretty nice place. I love it. I went to a place called uh, 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 uh I forgot the name, but it was pretty cool. I was saying over. I actually got a magnet for my fridge from that place. To Sedonia.
Sedona.
Sedona, yeah.
Yeah.
Close enough. Close enough, eh?
What's there to do in Sedona?
Um, I went for a just to visit the city, and then I ended up in a kind of bushwalk.
Mm.
So nice. The weather was nice. The view was nice. A lot of mountains. So beautiful. And I went to the Grand Canyon as well.
Mm.
So good, dude.
Is it really, really big?
It is. It is. I kind of regret that I didn't spend much more time or so much more time uh, at the Grand Canyon. Um, I just stay there for a day. I would
Mm.
have stayed. It's that kind of experience that you um, got to experience even more time.
Mm.
And after that, what I did in Arizona, I went to a butterfly sanctuary. So good. I had a good time there. I love wildlife, so if you're not in those stuff, it's gonna be a boring plan to do. But for me, it was amazing. The aquarium, the city in general, people were so much friendly in comparison to in comparison to New York, for example.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, they were so friendly. At least with me, um, a couple of people stopped to talking to me, and yeah, that was weird for me. But I found it quite nice as well. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, my friend recently in the last podcast, he told me that he thinks when you get closer to the equator, people start to be a bit more open and friendly because of the weather. When the weather is warmer, people spend more time outside, and I think it just kind of it changes the energy of a place and of the people. And I think it probably has something to do with that a little. But it's also more space. It's more spacious, so crowded in one place.
Yeah, it does make sense for me, but at the same time, when I was in Texas, it was a completely different story for me.
Really?
Yeah, and my conclusion, I might be wrong, it's just my personal opinion. I would say because they hate people from South America, they think we're gonna stay there forever. You know what I mean? So uh, at the beginning, where at the airport, I had a bad experience with a cop. He was asking me weird questions, like interrogating me, but in a bad way. I know they're doing their jobs. That's all good, fair enough. Um, but they were asking me, um, how much do you spend? How much do you earn monthly? And it was like, what the fuck? Why would I tell you my salary? It doesn't make any sense for me, you know?
An
Uh,
invasion of privacy.
Pardon me?
It's an invasion of privacy, and that's
Yeah, yeah, it is.
a country that they believe in freedom. You don't have to say anything, and then they expect to know everything from you.
Yeah, yeah. They asked me a lot of weird questions. Because when you go out to another country, you're gonna get some questions, and everyone know that where are you coming here, where are you gonna stay, how long are you gonna be here, what are you gonna do around here, whatever. That kind of question are normal. Everyone is expecting them, but the other ones, well, what the fuck? Uh,
I think I remember you telling me a story about how the border agent asked you where you learn your English as well. No,
yeah, yeah. That was in Texas actually.
and what did he say to you?
How long did you? Yeah, he asked me how long were you in Australia, and I told him 2 years. That's why you got that fucked up accent, something like that. Yeah, uh, yeah, that cop made me laugh. um, but yeah, coming back to Texas, people were were friendly at all. Weren't friendly at all. My conclusion was the same. Like I said before, they think we're gonna stay there forever. But the food was so cool, and I really enjoyed that. Yeah, vibes. uh,
The
it
cow.
was like, yeah, the Cowboys. It was like to be in a movie at some point. But I had a great time out there. I highly recommend that to everyone who like that kind of cowboy vibes and all that. And it was good. Um, After that, I don't know where I went. Then I went to the north of Chile. I haven't traveled much in. in my own country. So I went to the north. I had a great time as well there. And now I'm going to Brazil in November.
Very nice.
I'm gonna be in Rio. Have you ever been in there?
Yeah, I was there for a carnival last year.
How long were you there?
In total, I was in Rio for about 10 days, 11 days.
How was it?
It's beautiful. You know, you're in the sun. It's very, very hot. Very, very hot.
In which month
In
were you there?
February. I was there in February. But I think in November as well, it starts to warm up. It starts to get quite hot.
Fucking
So
hell. I hate summer. I hate it, really.
I don't think it's as bad as it is in February. In February, 35 degrees every day. So humid.
45 or 30?
35, 30.
30.
But it
Okay.
feels like 40 with the humidity. It's really,
Okay.
but it's
Same
really,
in Ali.
sorry?
Do you remember Ali Beach?
Yeah. No,
Jesus.
but there it was nice. It was hot, but when I arrived, it was 27 degrees every day. Beautiful weather.
Have you ever been to Darwin?
To Darwin, no.
Okay. Dude. Yeah. This moment made me now everything reminds me Australia.
Yeah.
I had
Yeah,
a great
it's easy to get nostalgic and remember.
remember it.
Yeah. So I just want to circle back. What are your personal thoughts on the tipping situation in the United States?
What do you mean by tipping situations?
That they force that it's almost mandatory to leave a tip.
Yeah, I got it now. My personal opinion about that is it doesn't make any sense. Unless you are serving your meal or you're having a meal in the store, in the restaurant or whatever, someone is serving you and providing you a service, makes sense for me. If you are gonna get a takeaway stuff, no tip, mine. Sorry about that. You should be getting a salary. I do not tip anyone if I'm taking getting something to take away, for example. I
Yeah,
do not.
it doesn't make any sense. I don't even agree with it in a sit down situation. I know this may be a little controversial, but I think most of the world doesn't really do it, you know.
Even in my country, they started doing that, and I don't want to be part of that. I do not tip anyone except if I'm having something in the restaurant, in the coffee, in the whatever I am, right there. I do tip always tip the waitress or whoever is there. But if I in a takeaway stuff, nah. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, my girlfriend. Let me tell you that story. My ex-girlfriend told me that you gotta tip them, and I asked her why. It doesn't make any fucking sense. We're just taking a burrito and going home, and we're gonna having it at home. And she said, no, if you don't tip them, they probably spit in your meal. No way.
It's a scam. It's so bad.
Yeah, it is. But what about if they do it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, but they shouldn't. It's kind of like holding your food hostage, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Not good. Not good. So before I ask you the 3 questions I'm about to ask you, is there anything that you want to ask me before we finish up?
Oh, that's a great question. Let me think about it. So I want to ask you, why are you in Canada at the moment, and what are you looking for, or what's your purpose of being in different countries? What are you looking for?
Yeah, it's
That
a good.
spiritual journey. Two questions. You gave me one, but I'm asking you two. Sorry about that, man.
You can ask me as many questions as you want.
Okay.
But it's funny. I get the question about why I'm here in Canada a lot, because obviously being in Canada, people ask you why you're in Canada. So last year I decided that my friend who I did the last podcast with, he had talked about going to Canada. And at that point, I said, okay, I'm going to apply. It had been in the back of my mind, like it was after South America, I was planning on visiting Canada or doing a working holiday visa like I did in Australia. So when he told me he was going to do it, I said, maybe I apply and then I'll see when I arrive. So I started the application, and it's more complicated than it is for Australia, but I got invited to apply, and then I applied. I went through the process, and after one thing or another, I decided it was time for me to leave Latin America. So I booked my flight to Toronto. I went and stayed in Toronto last year for 4 months. I didn't like it. I went back down to South America for 6 months.
Why you didn't like it?
I didn't like Toronto because I think everyone is so busy there because everything's so expensive. Everyone is working all the time or studying, and I don't think it's an easy place to make friends. I feel like what people want to do more is they want to network. They don't necessarily
Connect with others.
yeah, close personal relationships aren't so easy. And I think that's quite true for big cities in general. Wherever you are in the world, people more often want something, and making friends in those places is harder. So having all of those feelings, and I didn't want to stay for the winter, I went back down to South America. I was living in Colombia for a few months, and I came and visited Chile and Argentina and
Where you
Uruguay.
stayed? Where you were in Colombia?
So for most, I did a little bit of traveling, but for most of the time, I stayed in a small town called Chinchina. Chinchina is between, well, Bogota is here, and Medellin is here, and then Chinchina is there down like a little triangle. It's between some cities called Manizales and Pereira. So I stayed there from the start of February to the middle of May, living in that small town, teaching English. And then I decided it was time for me to come back to Canada because I wanted to enjoy the summer. I needed to earn some money again. And people told me, Montreal is it has a great summer. There's so many things going on. It's a very sociable city. So I decided to come here, decided I'll come here and try and learn French, which I'm working on. It's a work in progress. And
I'm pretty sure you get it sooner.
well, yeah, I have to practice.
Sooner than later.
Sooner, I hope so, but I just have to practice. That's the biggest thing. So yeah, I'm gonna be.
I heard the French up there is kind of weird in comparison to the French from France.
Yes, even now, understanding what I can of French, I understand that they have an interesting way of speaking. So,
do they speak French all the time?
In Montreal, it's a bilingual city, so people prefer to speak French, but there are also a lot of people who prefer to speak English. But most people are bilingual, fluently bilingual.
Are they open to speak English for you? It's not like, we speak French here. You gotta speak French and all that weird shit. I hate it so much.
Speaking generally, I think people are very open to speak English.
Okay.
They people are really kind. I do like the people of Montreal. I think that they are really nice people.
Good to know.
Yeah, it's another city that I would definitely recommend that you visit at some point if you can. In the summer is a good your winter time, the summertime in the northern hemisphere. So yeah, for those reasons, I'm here for now. We'll see how long I spend here. I think this time I'll be here for the winter, so that will be a new challenge. And to answer your other question, why I want to go around these other countries, I yeah, I think it is definitely a spiritual journey. I think I have places in my mind that I want to visit, that I've wanted to visit for a long time, and people, I sometimes I want to go and see old friends. Um, Now I feel like I choose where I want to live because it's what I want to do, but I go to visit places because it's places that I've been to before that I love, and I have friends there, or it's a new place. And I think I'm still discovering things about myself and the world. And yeah, I think there's an ongoing journey that I want to find what I'm passionate about and where I feel most comfortable in the world, where one day I'm going to be ready to start a family when I meet someone. And yeah, I think I have things in mind.
That's good, dude. That's a pretty good answer. A powerful answer as well.
Thank you. But yeah, just mostly more than anything, trying to find where I fit in.
Uh, you know what happened to me when I came back home? Um, I'm telling you this because it might happen to you as well. Just keep this in mind, and be ready. When I came back home, let me have a drink. When I came back home, after I don't know 2 weeks, at the beginning it was so good because I was seeing all the people who I love, but after 2 weeks, I started feeling contaminated again. If it makes sense, like the old Fabian uh, came over and telling me, "All right, let's keep going the story that we left behind." You know what I mean? And like I kind of forgot everything that I have learned in Australia, you know,
Yeah,
and I starting going back like to my old myself, and it was hard for me to just stop that because I was feeling like overwhelming and acting as I used to act and reacting as I used to react and everything like that. And I got conscious of that and I stopped it immediately. But it was hard for me to get contaminated again. I'm telling you this if you go back to UK, just to be ready.
yeah, I think I definitely did feel something similar when I visited last time. Um, for me, my hometown is not a happy place. I I have something similar for the first couple of weeks. Yeah, it's nice. Obviously, I'm not there very often, and to spend time with my family and my old friends is cool. It's cool, but to be there for a long time, long term, no, it just doesn't. I don't feel good. I end up really ready to leave so fast, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah. So we'll come to the last three questions I'm going to ask you now.
Okay.
So, from my previous guest, Mark, he asked you if you could have been born in any country that wasn't Chile, where would you have been born and why?
Australia. Because I love that place. The most beautiful place in the world. Got no doubts about that.
Mm.
And I got a lot of beautiful people who I miss all the time, and I would like to see them again. I love the country in all possible ways.
Mm. Well, I hope you manage to make it back one day.
Who knows? I'm scared of going back there, man. I swear to God.
Leave
Say it again.
because you won't want to leave.
Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty sure that's why I'm scared of that.
Yeah.
But I can't do that again. I mean, one of my mates actually offered me to get a working holiday visa for New Zealand, and I considered it,
Mm.
but I can't do it. I just can't do it anymore.
Why did you decide no? This was 1 or 2 years ago.
No, actually, it was last year
Okay.
or during this year.
Okay. But like you told me before, now you have your life in Chile. You have more stability.
Yeah, I can't complain about my life at all. I'm having a good life here, having a good time as well. Live with my family. I got a good job. I'm doing what I love, and I own a beautiful land. I got a pool. I got my Woody, my dog, and yeah, I can't complain at all. You know, we are always complaining about something. Got a reason to say, oh, we like to do this or we like to have that, but at the end of the day, I'm having a beautiful life here, so I can't live this now. And I'm taking care of my mom as well and my nephew. So I got different responsibilities now that I just can't go somewhere else and live somewhere else right now. Now it's impossible.
Yeah, of
And
course.
yeah, I think that's the main reason. And like I said before, I was in Australia complaining about every single job that I had except the data centers one. And so if I go somewhere else, I would I would try to get a job in my field, in IT, information technology.
Mm.
And it might be hard. No, I can't. I just can't do that anymore. That's all. That's it.
It's better not to think about those things and never say never. You'll see where the future takes you and
Yeah,
whatever
dude. You're
happens.
right.
So, what question would you like to ask the next guest?
Um, if you could be born as an animal, which one would you be? If it makes sense.
Yeah. And why?
Um, because I love wildlife so much. That's
No, but
why.
does the person need to say which animal they choose and why?
Yeah, and why? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. And finally, if you could share a message with everyone in your language, which is, of course, Spanish or Chileno.
A message in Spanish. Ta, ta, ta. Que traten de aceptarse a sí mismos como son, quererse, amarse, respetarse como son, eh, y no tratar de cambiar por otros ni ser eh, falsos con los demás. Siempre mostrarse tal cual son y no por intentar caer bien o por las consecuencias, actuar como una persona que no son. Yo pienso que hoy en día eso es súper valorable, es muy fácil encontrar a personas que son falsas y espero, o sea, trato yo al menos de no rodearme de ese tipo de personas. Así que mi mensaje es, aprenda a conocerte, amarte, respetarte y trata de ser esa misma persona con los demás. No intentar ser alguien que no eres. En
Okay.
English, if
Can you
necessary.
explain to everyone what that means in English and what it means to you?
Say it again, sorry.
Can you explain to everyone what that means in English and what it means to you?
Okay. Try to learn who you are. Try to accept yourself as you are. Don't try to pretend to be someone who are not, who you are not. Just to um, just to be scared of the consequences or what the rest of the world will say about yourself. Just be real. Don't be a fake person. Um, Find people who with double face. I don't know if it makes sense in English, but in Spanish it's a expression. At least I try to be around people who is real. Yeah, respect yourself, learn about yourself, accept yourself as you are, and don't be someone who you are not, or pretend to be someone who you are not.
Thank you. That was a really beautiful message. So thank you for sharing that.
No worries, dude.
Oh, we're coming to the end now. So I really appreciate your time. It's been awesome to catch up with you, and always learning more about each other and the
Again. Are you
pros and
there?
yeah, I'm here. I think
Yeah.
it's your internet now.
I didn't get the message. Did you?
No, I haven't got a message either.
I didn't get them.
It's Google. It's Google.
You go freeze again. Thank you very much for your invitation. I had a great time with you. It's nice to catch up with you always. So I hope you come to Chile soon. You always have a place to stay in or at. Yeah, dude, that would be great to see you again soon.
Yeah. I hope to see you soon in Chile. Thank you for your time today. It's been really nice to catch up with you and always to share stories and talk about the good and the bad and the real experiences that we've had. So I really appreciate you and your words and giving me your time today and being a part of this project. I think it's really cool to connect again, and yeah, really nice to sit down for this time that we have. So thank you for everything.
No worries, dude. Thanks for the invitation. You
Well,
know what to
so thank you for listening, everyone. This has been episode 8 of Backpacks and Stories.